Hey people, welcome to the channel. Stay for this video, especially if you have a dog and you think your dog will react a certain way if someone breaks in or if you're attacked. Well, we'll actually verify this with actual people going through this. Before I go on with the video, a few things. First of all, tomorrow live stream. If you want to follow me tomorrow during it, a few things interesting going on, and I think it's worth doing one of these, so you're more than welcome for those of you that want to join me. I'll do a live stream also in my Spanish channel, so if you want to practice your Spanish, follow me in my Spanish channel. I'll leave the links below there in the description. I'll also leave the link for my channel on video games and entertainment and movies and so on. If you want a movie recommendation, or if you want to play a video game, actually there's a free fly week in Star Citizen, which is this super controversial game that I have a love-hate relationship with. But if you want to check that out, and also of course, as always, the links for my books, Street Survival Skills and Surviving the Economic Collapse, those will be there. But basically that's it. Let's go through this because I think there's a few important things we can learn here, and I'll give you a couple more pointers for you to keep in mind. But let's start with this.
Intruder kicks down a door in Minneapolis. These two pooches take off.
Yeah.
And in a home outside Philadelphia, this dog runs away after a burglar hurls
Most
a
normal
at it.
reactions.
So,
most
would your
dogs
dog
will
come to
just
your defense if a
do
burglar
little or
broke
nothing.
in? This is Perry, a 5-year-old yellow lab.
Oh, that's my good girl.
Her owner, Michelle Kelleher, loves her dog.
Just loving your dog does not mean that your dog will automatically do things you're wishfully hoping it will do, especially when you see some stuff like this. I know that people have different relationships with their dogs. I'm more of a, yeah, it's an animal. I know it doesn't go in the couch where I sit. It actually, has a different role than people. You do you, but one of the things I have noticed over the years is that the more you humanize and you treat your dog as a little baby, even worse, like a little baby or even a person and so on, the less likely it is to fulfill its role as, a guard animal or an animal that has a certain job to do. Just one of the things I've noticed over the years with people and dogs.
I hope she tries to protect me.
To find out,
hope. This is like saying, I hope I rise to the occasion if I ever have to use one of these things, a gun in self-defense. Well, it's not about hope. Have you actually trained? Have you actually done anything? Have you at least gotten, the amount of information you need so as to have an somewhat accurate idea of what would happen?
we enlisted guard dog experts Nate Bonilla and Michael DeBruzzo. Then, with Michelle's permission, our burglar bursts in. Michelle puts on a great performance as he pretends to assault her. She screams for
That's actually
Perry.
good.
So what does Perry do? Does she jump in to save her? Look, she heads for the door. Michelle is left alone to defend herself.
This is called flight. Her tail is tucked. She's actually looking for a way out.
Thanks, Barry.
So the dog, I'm just a guy that had dogs most of his life, so I'm not one of these dog experts, and very, very careful with some of those self-claimed dog expert trainers. Oh, Fernando, you have no idea. I'm a super dog ninja. I've been training assassin dogs my entire life, over 300 years. Sure, whatever. I can only talk about my own experience with dogs, about the experience I've had with the ones I've owned, and some of the things I've seen over the years. One of the most idiotic things I've seen over the years are these self-claimed dog trainers and experts. In most cases that I know of, it's been worse than doing nothing at all. They either beat the dog or they don't know what they're doing. They not only have lack of professional actual training. Usually dog trainers, they're either working for the police or working with the military. And I am sure you have some guys out there that know what they're doing, but there's also a bunch of dumbasses out there that can't socialize with people and they think they're the dog badass. And, one of those ended up training one of my wife's dogs back in the day. Her family had German Shepherds, and they had, this great idea of getting one of these trainers to train the dog for defense. What is it that the dog did? The first thing the dog did after it got its training, it attacked my wife. Why? Who knows? Maybe the guy that was training or beating or doing whatever the thing is that they were doing with the dog, it was blonde, so it ended up attacking my wife that is also blonde. That seems to be one of the things that happens. especially when you do this kind of thing with an animal or whatever, or just incentivizing aggressive behavior or just beating on the animal so as to make it more aggressive. Who knows? Very careful with this. Actually, a little bit of common sense will go a long way, and it's probably a lot better than getting one of these dog trainers. Unless you go with an actual true professional that has a proven track record of doing these things well, and you know of people that have hired them and had a good experience, be very careful with these dog trainers and simply use a little bit of common sense. And this is what I noticed here right away. This dog, of course,
As he pretends to assault
didn't do much, but you see a few things. The dog was scared, as any living creature is. The dog did initially move closer to the owner, and it seemed to be, at a point it was kind of unsure if it was supposed to attack or not. But I will tell you right away that this thing about having your dog as a little baby, expect little baby reaction instead of dog reaction. Over the years with my dogs, without treating them like little babies, in general, they've been a lot better in terms of reacting to violence than this.
Does Perry do? Does she jump
Right.
in to save her?
So
Look,
the dog is close to doing, it's close to slipping, switching that switch of, I'm attacking this guy. It's going after my owner. Oh, but I'm a little baby. I'll just run away. We go on, okay?
heads for the door. Michelle is left alone to defend herself.
This is called flight. Her tail is tucked. She's actually looking.
The guy is right. It's either a fight or flight reaction. Just like with humans, the dog will either fight or flight. And sometimes it's a little bit of that gray scale of, what is it I'm supposed to do here? The dog doesn't know. And the dog may also be scared.
I'm a little surprised she almost took off.
People are surprised. People's expectations and reality. Pitbull. Pitbull should do well, right?
Pitbull lab mix, beloved by her
Okay,
owner,
lab mix and pitbull. Loves the owner. Okay, great.
Like to find out.
The so-called home invasion goes down, and it sure looks terrifying. Ruby comes running to investigate.
Ruby, get him!
She's not so brave either.
The guy does a good performance. He's actually like hitting the owner of, the alpha, who you would think it's the alpha of the pack, right? The dog, it kind of goes there, but still unsure.
She runs
Just,
away.
just too socialized into, being a little baby rather than a dog. Again, if 99% of people watching this will not hire a dog trainer, but you can follow a little bit of my advice, which is, don't beat your dog. Don't get a psychopath or one of these idiots that use dogs for fighting to make your dog violent. But the less you treat it like a little baby, the more likely the dog will be inclined to do dog things.
Hey, can you believe she's part Pitbull?
She
Ruby
just
was
went away.
Curious,
Yeah, of
she
course.
was worried about you, but she was not willing to take on the attacker.
No.
Sorry, Kevin, but Ruby is a win.
My dog failed the test.
Now meet the duo of
Now, this is mainstream media. It always has to have an angle, and the angle they want to go with now is little dogs are braver than big dogs, which is, not always true. May well be the case, but that's what they're going for, so keep that in mind.
They live with Ellen Eykamp in Westchester County, New York.
I think Frodo is really going to go after the attacker.
Well, we'll just see about that. Ellen puts on quite a show, and when they hear Mom is under attack, the two come running into the room. Watch as brave Frodo gets right into.
One of them does a little bit, but Frodo, or whatever the name of the dog is, it's not actually biting much. It's just barking a little bit.
On our burglar and backs him out the door.
And given the size of the dog, if the guy kind of like kicks the dog a little bit hard, there's a good chance that the dog will have a flight rather than fight reaction. But it is true that the dogs are getting in the way between the invader and the owner, so that's a good instinct to have,
Amazing.
right?
They did amazing.
Mike says Frodo instinctively does a guard dog technique called splitting.
Yeah, but the guy willingly moves away and so on. I mean, he could have... This is where you get into this gray scale territory of... It's a lot on what the owner does and more on that later, so stay for the video because I'll show you what you want to do. And a little bit of what the guy does, how much he insists, pushing the dog out of the way. Maybe the dog, just a little bit of violence towards it, just goes for that flight reaction. And besides, none of these dogs is actually capable of doing any kind of damage to that guy, especially not the little one. But one of the things I've learned over the years, and there's a great book that I mention often here in the channel from a South African criminologist that actually interviewed criminals in prison. Most criminals don't want to deal with dogs. So any dog that you have, especially something that's a little barky dog, will help towards home security. You don't have to have a mean-ass fucking dinosaur of a dog that eats people. If you have that and you have a dog trained, properly trained dog, or a dog with good instinct, fantastic. But even a useless, quote-unquote useless dog will help towards making your home more secure, because criminals don't want to deal with dogs in general. There's a little bit more of a higher degree of not wanting to deal with larger or more aggressive dogs, but in general, it's pretty high that dogs in general are something that turns away criminals, okay? So whatever dog you have is better than not having a dog at all.
Right in between, puts himself in the line of fire, and then continues.
There's a little bit of an attempt to bite, but there's also quite a bit of going back to the owner. You see how he goes back there, the tail waving and so on. I'm nervous. I'm looking for what my owner is showing in terms of the expected reaction. We socialize our dogs. We're not psychopaths. We're not gangsters that have fighting dogs locked in our garage. We're not insane. So we do socialize our animals. I'll give you a couple examples with my English Bull Terrier Spike, which is now a little bit older, but Spike is English Bull Terrier, pretty territorial, but I have small kids. I don't want a dog that's trained to attack, and I did a little bit of that without pushing him much. And yeah, he would follow certain indications of, it's a dog that has a very natural reaction to, boom, bite. And given that I have small kids, and even more so back in the day, 2-3 year old, I was making sure that that Spike had no violent reaction in general. So my kids would put like sticks in the dog's nose or touch its food, and the dog would not react violently. Now, having said that, once with our neighbors, they were playing in the backyard and they were like pushing around. The dog did not like that one bit. And because we're not idiots, we were looking after, our dog and our kids, especially our neighbors. And when we saw that, just as soon as one of the neighbors, grabbed one of my kids, the dog went after the kid, right? And we were right there because we were just monitoring things as any responsible parent does. And when we saw that the dog did not like that at all, immediately you move the dog away and you lock it, because yes, that's the kind of thing that can end in tragedy with a parent that is not responsible and a dog that is capable of inflicting serious damage on a person, let alone a little kid. But that's the indication that, yeah, the dog is perfectly fine with your kids. My kids used that dog as a horse during years, and touching food and doing things to the dog that I probably would have bitten the kids myself, but the dog put up with anything. But other people it did not like. And it's also very territorial. As soon as it sees someone or an animal or a person, it starts growling, and it definitely starts, one of my neighbors said, oh, is the dog friendly? And I said, no, it's really not. No, it's not friendly. My dog is not friendly. Oh, okay. What is it that my neighbor does? Puts the hand. And the dog, what is it that it do? It tries to bite off his hand through the fence. And I look at him, I just told you the dog is not friendly, does not like people going into its territory. And the guy oh, it almost bit my hand off. And I said, yes, that's what the dog is supposed to do. Don't put your fucking hand through the fence. Oh, okay. People. Sometimes dogs make more sense than people. Back in the day with another dog that I had, a German Shepherd, right? Not trained or anything, just normal ass behavior when you have a dog. Jumping through the backyard because I forgot my keys many years ago. I was jumping through the fence, and as soon as I land, I hear a growl and someone rushing. No bark, no warning, nothing. And I look around and I see and I go, it's me. And the dog stops almost, this close to my face. It was going to bite me. And as soon as it recognized me, it was like, oh, What are you doing here? But that's the kind of reaction you probably want from a dog. Unless you actually test it, you don't know for real. Let's watch a couple more, and there's something here for you to learn.
You ever wonder what your dogs would do if an
another
intruder
one.
broke into your home?
Socialized dog.
You weren't home, would they guard it?
Look at it.
Or would they cave in and
Welcome
be
the
friendly to
human that
intruder?
walks
Well, we
in.
put 3 Oregon families and their guardians to the test, and they all had typical guardian breeds, but they also had some smaller dogs too. So just how well did the dogs do?
There we go.
letting him in the door.
So we set up our cameras.
There we go.
Malala, says Toby, her miniature Australian Shepherd, is
He will be the one that will jump up and down and bark and bark and bark.
only did Echo and
That's why they say that little barky dogs are good, and there's some truth to that. The little barky dogs, a little bit more nervous, are more
Toby
likely
hardly
to start barking. I mean, and it's it's evolution as well. If you're a little guy, you cannot do much other than bark. If you're a big dog, you probably have other things to do. I mean, both small and big dogs can bark a lot,
Omri
depending
like
on the
their
breed.
long-lost friend.
But yeah,
What?
little barky dogs
They're wagging
usually.
their tail.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by that?
Yeah,
Yes.
normal,
Hi.
perfectly normal. This is the most
Very
common
little
reaction.
resistance.
If the person breaking into your house stays cool, most likely your dog will not attack, right? That's even with mine, even with Spike, the same person that just puts his hand and almost gets his hand bitten off. If that same person just walks in a little bit more calmly, maybe the dog is in more of a doubt. Okay, maybe he's supposed to be here. I don't know. I mean,
Omri was able to walk out, fake stealing several items.
yeah,
Got some good stuff.
Didn't go so well.
there you
They
go.
greeted him happily and didn't even mind when Trenton and our intruder walked out the door together.
Takes the
Possessions
kid.
could be replaced, but if somebody took Trenton, he couldn't be replaced.
Okay, you see, the idea that your dog will always protect your kids, it depends. Depends on the dog, depends on the owner, depends on not only how you train, which, again, very careful with that. If you're going to hire anyone to train your dog, expect to get something that is very expensive, because if it's not, you're probably buying garbage in terms of animal training. There's a lot of idiots out there that consider themselves dog handlers or trainers, and they're not. If it's affordable, if you can afford it, you probably are better off without it.
Now
Let's
we
put
go
it that
to
way.
Portland,
I'm looking to see almost like
but did stay by Mom's side to protect her.
a little surprised, but you know.
So far, we're 0 for 2.
I think they're going to the.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
So
The
far,
dog is sniffing,
we're
jumping
okay
around.
by Mom's side
Right.
to protect her.
They start jumping around. They don't know, but the guy is cool. The owner is cool. Okay, so it's another human that is welcome here. Everything is fine. These two dogs are pretty large. They could probably do some damage if they attack. But the dog, unless you're a psychopath that has a dog trained to bite everything that moves, the dog will read your reactions, your body language,
little
and the one
surprised,
of the
but,
person
you know.
that
So
walked
far,
in.
we're
He's ready to see what happens.
no, he's not.
You probably know people that are nervous or scared of dogs. What is it that happen? You're not nervous or scared of dogs. You walk around, dogs don't give a damn about you. The person that is nervous and scared about dogs will have a certain body language, a certain reaction. And the dog is more likely to be nervous as well, and maybe even more likely to bite the person that is nervous around dogs.
Welcome.
And out the back door.
But unlike Riley, Dallas refused to go outside and tried to stop Omri as much
you
as
kind of
possible.
close the door
Until
to a little
that
guy.
is, he called Dallas's bluff.
That's good. You see, the little dog will bark, but if you turn on it, then the little dog will probably just run away. Can't do much physically, right?
Pointed?
In.
This one has a better
See
reaction.
Riley the boxer stepping up to the plate to protect her owner, even jumping on Omri to stop him.
So this is probably more along the lines of what you want. So the guy walks in, this dog is probably a little bit too aggressive for your standard house with kids, with
See
neighbors,
Riley
and
the
so on,
boxer
right? The boxer
up to
is nervous, as it should be when there's
Plate to
an
protect-
unknown person. It goes back to the owner, sniffing, trying to read what the owner is thinking. I mean, is this guy attacking you? Are you okay?
Her owner, even jumping on Omri to
Right?
stop him.
It takes a couple bites.
I told her to get him.
Right? So the owner probably did a little bit of this, get him or so, and the dog will read that, even if it's not trained. I'm telling you, having had many dogs over the years, the dog that is a little bit more, certain breeds of dogs are more likely to react more defensively than others, but it's going to be a lot of how you react, how you have your dog educated, not so much trained. Don't leave your dog with any dumbass that does not know what he's doing.
So the lesson is this.
If you want a dog that will really protect you, it's not about the breed.
It only...
Kind of. I mean, yeah, it's not about the breed. Yes, dude, it is quite a bit about the breed because some breeds cannot do a damn thing at all. But it is true that in terms of barking, yeah, any little dog will bark or any big one. But if you want a dog that is actually capable of doing some damage, yeah, it is about the breed that you have.
It's not about the breed.
It only took him a few minutes.
We're going to build up her confidence because...
to begin laying the foundation.
So this guy is probably what you want to have in terms of a dog trainer, someone that it makes common sense, works along with you. It's not beating the crap out of a dog, which I know it's no longer the case, but you never know. But someone that is doing it with you, and again, it's going to be expensive. Someone that knows what he's doing will not come cheap. But you don't want a killing machine. You just want a dog that is defensive of its owner when he sees that the owner is nervous and scared.
Confidence.
Okay, so you do a little bit of this role-playing thing, and you probably end up getting a better result. I want to end the video with this one. This is a good reaction. This is a dog that, based on what I see here, is not trained to be a killing machine. The guy walks in, like we saw before, okay? So the guy walks in with a suit. Great Dane, right? Great Danes are big dogs, but they're not particularly aggressive or defensive or very territorial. I mean, depends from dog to dog. I had a Dogo Argentino. Dogo Argentino are damn, serious dogs, and they don't bullshit around. They don't wiggle their tails much at all at anyone, even your owner. It's a different kind of dog from anything else I've ever had. Dogo Argentino is a dog that you don't want to have. Dogo Argentino raised like it's my little baby. Bullshit. You'll have a dangerous animal if you do that. But here, this Great Dane has nice behavior.
Great Dane mix named Dubai.
It's socialized, so it approaches carefully, smells, a little bit of wiggling, but still not violent, not aggressive.
To someone else.
Right? It's obviously not a very territorial dog. This is maybe a couple notches down of what my dog Spike would do. Maybe he would be a little bit more bitey for anyone breaking in like that. But even a dog like mine, which is a little bit more territorial, if it reads a body language and a tone of voice and a behavior that's calm, the dog, unless it's very aggressive, will probably have a more calm behavior.
In fact, Mom, along with her son who is blind.
I get it. And I know that if you have a dedicated dog trainer that's trained so as to protect a perimeter, it will bite anything that gets even close. You probably don't want that, even from a highly qualified trainer, if you have kids, family, neighbors, because you're talking about an animal. It is to a great degree unpredictable. Some of the things they do are perfectly predictable, others not so much.
Is in the other room, just around
Careful. The dog is not sure, but the guy is good. The guy knows how to handle a dog. So, yeah, I'm good. I'm not aggressive. You shouldn't bite me. I'm one of these humans that is okay with
not a clue as to the danger that awaits them.
But the dog is, I'm telling you, this dog is unsure of, should I bite or shouldn't I bite? I mean, what am I supposed to do? This guy is not aggressive, but I'm not wiggling my tail to this asshole. Who is he?
The intruder continues to pet this
so interesting, right?
Very large dog, hoping to gain his trust.
Yeah. He sniffs.
It seems to be working.
I don't know that smell. I don't know that smell, but he's treating me as if I'm family. Right? That's what's going through the dog's mind.
Prowler continue to bond though.
Who is this guy?
Mom hears a noise and gets up to
exactly bonding.
And then comes face to face with the intruder.
But then the owner comes along and she starts screaming and shouting. And this is what you want to do. You want to have your dog trained, or again that word, but get your dog used to the idea that as soon as you start screaming, yelling, and many ways, this is instinctive for the animal. When the animal identifies you as the leader of the pack and the animal sees that you're upset, that point that I was talking about before about not being sure, now I'm damn sure this guy should not be here. So I start doing dog things. I start biting. I start, barking, biting. It even bites it there. And the more the woman screams, the more aggressive the dog gets and starts going to the guy's face. Right? Get him, get him. These are things that even with a little bit of practice, you see?
Mom locks the door.
Oh, okay. That's what I was supposed to do.
Calls the police. While Dubai continues barking away, perhaps.
Anyway, great. That is the reaction that you want. But very careful. Again, you're probably not going to hire a dog trainer, and if you do, you're going to be spending a heck of a lot of money so as to get a good one that's not dangerous. But if you do these things yourself, you can do a little bit of this. I've done it myself, and your dog will learn certain attitudes, certain behaviors, certain how trusty am I with strangers or not. But be very careful. Always lean towards the side of caution, because an animal, especially a larger animal with a powerful bite, can be very dangerous. So measure these things carefully. Now, when someone breaks in, something goes wrong, you will be the leader and the dog will react according to what you do. Okay, guys, that's going to be all for now. I hope you learned something from this. See you in our next video. Take care.